Yeah, I kind of like GC here. If we get a Rockstar, which we don't. That was like a naked speed tick on GC there. My rule is not to make them, or sorry, not to trade the naked speed ticks, but actually, I don't know if that qualified. No, it wouldn't have. This bar didn't have down momentum, but it's pretty close to a naked. I'll watch them, then I'll see. Maybe I will include them, but not after watching them for a while. Well, CL. I was thinking about a speed tick, but I don't know. It wasn't overbought. So I hesitated. I don't know. Looks like CO would have worked out. I mean, it did have a big run up, but yeah, I don't know. If it doesn't feel right, I just don't take it. Jeez, tough morning. I'm a little gun shy. I don't know why. Miss that speed tick. Naked. Well, the naked speed tick, I guess I shouldn't take. It's not in my trade plan, but yeah, I don't know. A little slow. Well, I missed that one. I fumbled again. Accidentally hit YM short, so I had to cancel that and go to RTY, and then it missed it. Now, that wasn't a very good setup, but I'm seeing some things that make me think it's a decent one. It'll probably come down. And RTY is pretty reliable. But missed my entry. And now it's pretty much at where my target would be, so can't take that. That's just like, it looks terrible. But there's pretty big negative delta on these candles, so good sign that it's going to be coming down. So that's kind of why I took it. I tried to take it. I'm pissing around, not paying attention, reading stuff on the internet. So that's my bad. Okay, watching GC, you watching CL. Nothing on either one of them. I just really like GC there. God, no Rockstar. But hey, look at that. Good thing. Watching CL again. Sinner. Nothing wrong with cold brew. Watching CL here. You ever tried that stuff, coffee? Yeah. 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 Dude, what's hot tea? You had hot tea? Yeah. How's Yeah. Yeah, okay. That's normal to me. So what's the other way of having tea? Oh.
So basically, it's sort of like half sweet, half unsweet. You know, talking about, like my wife, she's bad because she's diabetic. You know what I mean? So she can't have. So a lot of times, what she does is like she goes to a restaurant, she'll tell them half and half. And here, that's so popular that people know what they mean. You know what I mean? Just then
Oh,
it just
see.
boils down to how much sugar gets put in it. You know what I mean? To where one person's idea is sweet, another person's idea. 'Cause I tell people, some people pour no sugar in there, you would think you're drinking syrup. I
Yeah.
mean, just
I
anyway,
drink I drink black coffee, so I don't put anything in my coffee. And
yeah.
that could be
Well,
part of the reason why I like the cold brew.
I got you.
It's not as
Well, to
bitter.
me, coffee is to me exactly, and the people who like, I don't care for as bitter as it is. So usually I will do like a spoon of cream and a spoon of sugar. You know what I mean? And that's why, because my wife actually, she says, oh, you want something with your coffee. You don't talk about, because to her it's not true coffee. Hers, she's like that. It's like, hey, it's just be black. Okay.
Yeah.
But now she's also, I hate to say this, but to me, she's a woman. She's gone, thank God. Otherwise, she'd be tail out of me. She heard me saying this. What was it? I want to be tail out of me. You know, I tell people we've been married for years upon years upon years,
Yeah.
and we can still go Starbucks or one of those coffee places, and I cannot order for her because it'll be like, okay, I want 2 shots of this, and oh, give me coconut milk or ultra latte skim so and so,
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
just like, give me a mocha. Yeah, or
Yeah.
give me a this. You know what I mean? I'm not going to get creative with that. You know, if it tastes good to me just the way it's supposed to be, hey, I'm okay with it. Anyway, but usually if we're out, Starbucks is going to be the last place I'd pick because I always thought to me their base coffee tastes sort of burnt. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know because they just roasted too long or what. You're just good at mine, but anyway,
they're all right. We got Tim Hortons up here. That's the big one.
yeah,
McDonald's is
that
actually
is
getting
true.
pretty good.
Right?
McDonald's is getting, but I like
Yeah,
Starbucks. That's what I have now is Starbucks cold brew. They
yeah.
have a
Well, I didn't
blonde
know if that was.
roast.
Yeah, I
It,
didn't know if that was as big up there as it is down here. You know what I'm talking about?
no,
Um,
people.
anyway.
Well, it's all right, but it's the young girls like it. It's like the young
Well,
blondes and stuff. They like to
whenever
go
I
there.
was up there, to me, Tim Hortons was sort of like, and it may have changed back then. To me, Tim Hortons was basically sort of like a donut chain. You know what I mean? You know,
It is,
so
yeah,
to me, it was basically to me, it was sort of like a Dunkin' Donuts or
yeah.
whatever it is we have here in the U.S. You're talking about, so I didn't know. You got to realize I have not been up there in years and years, years.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if things have changed or whatever. I just knew
No.
it was a very, very large chain
Yeah. Like
back
Tim
then.
Hortons is like it's like a staple in like most people's lives.
Yeah,
There was like a little town back in Ontario where I lived. It was so funny called Aurelia, and I don't know what the population is of the town. It might be like 8,000 people or something, or 10 or 5. Like not a big town. Right? My mom grew up there.
right. I know what you mean.
Dude, you could see one Tim Hortons from another Tim Hortons. There was one on a hill, and if you were up at it, you could look down at another Tim Hortons. There was about 7 of them in this little town. It took you all of 20 minutes to drive around the whole
Yeah.
town.
Oh, I know, dude. Look here,
Ridiculous.
and keep in mind now how long it has been since I have drove a truck. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But back then, there were so many freaking Walmarts here in the
Huh.
U.S. that I remember as a driver, a lot of times what we would do, especially when I was with JB Hunt, okay, because Walmart was a very, very big company we hauled for. So a lot of times, let's say I hated going to Walmart on the weekend because a lot of times what would happen was you would go in that distribution center and because their drivers would go home, guess what JB Hunt would do? JB Hunt would say, because if you're like, hey, I want to make a little extra money. Well, basically, they would just say, hey, go check in with our dispatch because they would have a dispatch there. You know what I'm talking about? And, they would just say, check in with their dispatch. Well, no, I did that one time and I said, no, I'm never doing this again because basically all they're doing, you're just doing what a local driver do. So it's like, okay, hook up to this Walmart trailer and that run might be 30 miles. It might be 100 miles. Most time, the farthest distance would be, say, maybe 100 miles.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be worth it because I was getting paid by the mile. Okay. So to me, it was not worth it for all you would have to put into it. And because a lot of times they could have, say, 3, sometimes even if it was a densely populated area, 4 stores within a 10 to 15-mile radius. So what they was running into was problem was, which I didn't do that, but you had a lot of JB Hunt drivers didn't give a shit. You know what I'm talking about, so they would hook up something and they would go to Walmart. Well, turns out the Walmart they're supposed to go was 5 miles down the road, you know what I mean, or whatever. And they would go drop it and anyway, so you can imagine it
Yeah.
just, yeah, that's why when they would tell me, oh, we'll just go check in with, oh, hell no. I learned real fast. I was like, no, I'm not doing that. I would rather just sit around and do nothing all weekend, because it's like you would work your butt off, and let's say it was 30 miles away. Well, you're getting, however 27 cents a mile or whatever. Well, by the time you get there, and then you have to, so you could beat on that back door all day and not get anybody to answer. You know what I'm talking about, and
Oh
just
yeah.
uh, then you have to walk all the way around the store, just try to say, hey, I'm here. What do you want? Yeah, no. You know what I mean? It's just the amount of time you would waste just trying to get everything done. It wouldn't worth it.
20
Or to me,
cents a mile
well,
or
you have
more
to
than
realize
that.
back then that was, I'm talking about, I want to say, no, when I was JB Hunt, I was making more than that. I
Yeah.
think it was around about 30. Now it's much, much more. Back then, that was, high rates. I'll put it that way. You know what I mean? You have to realize we're talking about, what, 90s, between the 90s to
Oh yeah.
2000 or something like that. I said, what was it? So when I left KLM, I think I was making maybe 20. dude, I can't remember, maybe 27 cents a mile, somewhere right in there. And JB Hunt did a big pay boost because what they were trying to do was get experienced drivers that to try to push their safety record up and their accidents down. So
Yeah.
basically, it was like, so I had a guy that worked there that I knew at KLM, and he switched over, and I kept on thinking, oh no, it can't be. He was like, oh no, dude. He said, you should try it. So I went in there because back then, which I guess you still can. I don't know. You know what I mean? But you could walk right in the guy that was the lead man that run the company. You could walk right in his office and talk to him
Oh
you
yeah.
know, and hey, I did. I didn't think nothing of that, and I just went there and I said, hey, JB Hunt's offering to pay me, and I think they offered to start me at like 10 cents more a mile, so I think they offered to start me at like 37 cents, and I was like, so I was like, I'll give them a chance to match it. I was like, hey, are you willing to match it? And you guys realize this is a company I've been at for. I think like 7 something years then, maybe, or something like that. I mean, and I, excellent record, whole 9 yards. I thought they actually would. No, that dude was like, okay, enjoy it over at Chevy Hunt.
Oh yeah.
He basically told me, okay, take care. See you later. So I was like, okay. I went and cleaned out my truck. I left. You know what I mean? I switched over, and he was right, dude. I tell people, I said I made a killing there. Especially, I loved if I could get caught in either automotive or a Walmart. What I called a loop. So here's the thing: all you would do all day. Let's say you was doing automotive, okay? Even going across to Canada, because believe it or not, you have a lot of auto parts come out of Canada, buddy.
Oh yeah.
Uh, all you would do is you would get somewhere and they say, "Hey, I need this," the dispatchers be like, "Can you do this?" Sure, no problem. You know, so you would literally say, "Go up to Canada or go wherever you need to go in the U.S." Most of the time the trip wouldn't but say 250 to 500 miles. Okay, it wouldn't. I mean, it was something that could be done in a day. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But here's the thing. So it wouldn't major money, because it wouldn't just super big miles, but it was all dropping hooks. So in other words, what I would do was I would go to the car company, whoever, and turn around and pick up a what do you want to call it? The empty trailer, and I would go back to the parts place, the factory that made the parts. Well, by then they had done loaded another trailer to go back. See what I'm saying? They've had
Yeah.
enough time. So I would just drop that empty in a door. I check in once, say, hey, what door you want it in? They tell me. I'd pick up the load one, get the bill of lading, and go right back. By the time you got back, I guess they had enough time to unload it. You know what I'm talking about, or unload a trailer with those parts. Because sometimes they might have, say, 3 or 4 of those trailers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't will run out, but you get my drift. But also, it made it an easy way because so many companies, to me, were pushing their inventories down. So if they could basically, what you want to say, like keep it in that trailer out there, it cost them nothing, or at least that's the way they looked at it,
Yeah.
and they don't have to put it in a. See what I mean? So they were to some degree. So they would be done empty one out. I would just hook to the empty, and that's all you would do for say 4, 5, 6 weeks at a time. But you would make a killing because it was no time spent waiting to unload or load.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, you basically did nothing. Here, let me show up, drop this, hook to this, leave. And you could make good money. I said, and the Walmart was doing the same thing. All you would do was quite literally, because Walmart was such a large buyer, all you
Order
literally would
submitted.
do was go
Order
to some
filled.
factory. It may be, say, a Coca-Cola plant, or let's say you was going to some candy factory where they made Reese's peanut butter cups or whatever. You get my drift.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what they would do was either you was picking up their product or they were making the Walmart brand, but putting it in Walmart containers. See what I'm saying? So it was the same stuff. It was
Yeah.
just listed
Oh
great
yeah.
value at Walmart. You know what I'm talking about, So you would pick up that and then you would go to a distribution center and drop that off. And because the Walmarts were so big, you would show up and they say, okay, drop it in this, this empty hole, and they all had numbers. You know what I mean? And then they'd say, okay, this trailer's empty. Go pick it up, and they'd tell you either what dock it's at or what slot it's at, and you go pick up that empty, and you look in it, make sure, okay, yes, everything is empty, everything is good, blah blah blah, you know, and then you just sort of went from there. And basically, all they would do is just redispatch you, and you go back to the exact same place and do the exact same thing again. You know what I mean? You would literally, and you would do that for, I tell people, it's like having a regular job. You are essentially doing what one of their drivers would do, like Walmart. It's just they did not have a driver to cover that route. Maybe that's the best way I know to put it.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right.
Um,
And their guys
I
were
said,
hourly. The Walmart guys.
no, 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 no. When you was doing something like that, because I was working for JB Hunt, what was is what they were doing was they was paying me by the mile, but because I spent no time as far as dead time, if that makes sense,
Yeah.
sitting for 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hours in a dock waiting to get loaded or unloaded and everything was driving hook, it just made it so much quicker. So you spent more time on the road actually going back and forth.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
But
what.
what about the Walmart guys? Were they hourly? The guys that work for you
Um,
driving?
I'm not sure, dude.
Oh,
Don't give
okay.
me the line about that. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Oh, okay. I was just
You
wondering.
know, and in
Yeah, yeah.
fact, I do know by the time I left, what they were doing was Walmart had gotten to a point to where their highest paid employees was their store managers and their truck drivers, as far as everyday employees. Okay, you know what I mean? You know, those
Yeah.
those two people were their highest paid employees. They were literally opening warehouses, and instead of hiring Walmart drivers, what they would do is bring in JB Hunt and set up a terminal there. And but here's the thing, they would pay those guys what I would think of as pittance. You know what I mean? So you'd make, say, 15, 16, 17 cents a mile, you know.
Oh, wow.
But here's the thing, you would be home every night. You know what I mean? Or you'd be home every weekend. And
Yeah.
to a lot of guys it was worth it. You know what I mean? But it never worked. It never really worked out because you have to realize Walmart was looking at, hey, if we can get rid of our fleet, you don't have to have maintenance. See what I'm saying? Because every one of those warehouses, guess what? You have a little shop. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe only 2 bays, where they would do maintenance. Not major maintenance, but like, okay, we need to oil change. We need to, you
Yeah.
get my drift. We need to change a tire. Just all that stuff costs money. And you're hiring a mechanic to stay right there to do it. You know what I mean? So if they can get rid of that and they can get rid of those drivers, you know what I mean? It's saving money overall. But here's the problem. They realized that it didn't work for the simple reason being is they haul so much damn product. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They just can't do it. That no one carrier can keep up with them. Sort of like Amazon. That's why Amazon now has their own damn trailers and they just advertise for power units. You know what I mean? Because guess what? Amazon moves too much freight and they simply cannot, and they've never had their own. Well, yes,
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that that's their own drivers running around in vans, but as far as like semi drivers, maybe I should put it that way. So what they do is they just offer somebody a contract, just like the U.S. Postal Service, saying, okay, you know what? We're giving you this area and you can haul this freight for this much money. And from what I understand, you can make good money off of them.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? They open it for bid, because but they essentially all you need is just the truck. They supply the trailers, they supply all that stuff,
That's all right.
so. But now, keep in mind that stuff was not around whenever I was driving. I'm just going off of what I read now,
Yeah.
because I still
I
follow like the trucker subreddit and Reddit and stuff
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I know for like the small package drivers, like just the guys that have these little like transit vans and stuff,
Mhm, mhm.
they have a little app and they can just pick up jobs like that. I guess it's like bidding on a job as if you're a trucker, but they just have their car and they have like an
Yeah, there
Amazon
you go.
app and they can just like say, "Hey, I'm on duty. I'll bid for this, bid for that." And yeah, they'll deliver. Those guys are usually delivering like after hours on the weekends more than the actual Amazon drivers, but
Right.
yeah, it's kind of a good business, I think, in some ways. These guys can work for themselves under their own schedule, start a business and write some tax off. So I think it's a good opportunity for some people.
It basically, to me, which I personally feel like any company does that. It's whether or not you can keep up with it. To me, they put essentially most every corporation to me is that way. You know what I'm talking about? It's like unless you work for a smaller mom and pop, maybe you'll mean they're reasonable. But any larger corporation like that, to me, it's like they expect one person to do the work of three. And come on, some
Yeah.
people just cannot do that. Some people will put in the work and try to organize their truck and this and that. And over time, you learn little tricks. You know what I mean? You don't get it done. But come on, that you know just as well as I do. I tell people honestly, even out of say every 10 employee, that's why. In fact, when I was at GP, that was to me was a problem. Believe it or not, we would hire the guys there, and I had no idea things were this bad. Okay. I'm sure you might can tell me more about what goes on in Canada, but hey, I knew drugs and stuff was bad, but dude, here and remember, we was just driving a yard dog. We never left and went off of the facility grounds. Okay, so I wrote the ad to say, oh, okay, we're looking for this and this and this, and okay, and you already see how freaking because how I wrote up what you got. So it was all very professional. Well, I did that for my boss because what they would do is they would put it out there on Monster and all the kinds. You got to remember this is still a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
They would have people call in, and I had no idea. Out of say every 10 to 20 applicants, you might only get one that actually, then out of those, my boss said a lot of them would just say, well, here's the thing, you would have to go take a drug test. Well, a lot of them either would, he said they would just play along,
Yeah.
go, okay, he set up the appointment, and they just never show up. Well, they knew they wouldn't go pass the test. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, Or what would happen was when they found out about that, or someone would just ask straight up, and he'd just be like, hey, guess what? And they just like, oh no, I can't do that. You know what I'm talking about? Because they knew they failed the test. And it's like, well, no, guess what? GP is still a mega conglomerate. You know what I'm talking about? Guess what? This is what has to happen. You know what I'm talking about? This is our requirements.
Yeah.
So anyway, all I know was I was just shocked. And then for the ones you would get, because the way the schedule worked, you know what I'm talking about? They work what was the Dow schedule, and it was a rotating schedule where you work nights like X number of days and days X number.
Oh yeah.
And some
Yeah.
people just couldn't handle that. Okay, some people just couldn't hack it. Okay, I mean,
That's
so
tough.
yeah, it was very. Your body to me never really establishes a real rhythm.
No.
Anyway, um, but yeah, I turn around. I just anyway.
Yeah, I don't know how much different it is up here. Probably, you know what? That was back in the day, so it was. I wonder if people were just smoking pot, and that was the reason they wouldn't pass. Would that
See, and
fail
that
them?
is, I honestly believe that's probably about 70% of it.
Yeah,
Because,
and you
dude,
know
even
what? Yeah,
here is getting more widely accepted. You know
yeah,
what I mean? But the way the laws read is also still touch and go. Because even
hmm
in my state, they're trying to get it okayed for medical. You know what I mean? But I tell people, come on, this is the Bible Belt, okay? But I remember I thought it was funny as could be because they put it up for vote. They was like, because even the politicians don't really want to touch it. So it's like, okay, I tell you what, we're gonna put a something on there on the ballot, and you the people can tell us whether or not. And what they started with was like, okay, this is gonna be medical only. Okay. Well, it passed like by 70 something percent. You know, and I was
yeah.
like, well, that lets you guys shit ton of Mississippians smoking that dope. Okay. you know, and I don't doubt it because, dude, you got to realize, even back at home where I grew up, there were people that grew it. Okay. It wasn't like it was somebody running around going, hey, I'm your dealer, you
Yeah.
know, and most people knew those folks. But I tell people, I say, you have to realize that back then, those are the people that grew up just like my parents, which my parents didn't do anything like that. But those people grew up in all that weird free love movement and all that stupid ass stuff. You know what I'm talking about, and it was all cool. And, you know, I says, but also the stuff they were growing is nothing compared to what it is now.
No.
Okay. Nothing. It wasn't like, oh, this plant has this THC level and this,
Yeah.
you know, No, hell, they got whatever the hell they got, and they grow that shit, and if it was good, it was
Seeds and
good. If it
everything.
was bad, I mean, shit. You get my drift. So I
Yeah,
just tell
yeah.
people it was nothing compared to what it is now. Maybe
Yeah,
that's what I'm
that's the
trying.
other thing. And now they're doing other stuff like they got this stuff called like shatter. It's like just basically like it's just like refined. It's not even the bud. It's just everything's taken
Yeah,
out of it,
yeah.
and it's just this. I don't know. It's gotten too far. I don't.
Well,
I don't
dude,
agree.
in fact, they've got to a point where I know now. I don't know what they have now, but I know a couple of years ago they had something called Quick K12 that was a synthetic. You know what I'm talking about? So you could get the
Oh,
same high, but you could smoke it and still pass the test. See what I'm saying? Now,
oh,
what they have now, I don't know. Over time, they finally realized this and they said, "Oh, okay. Well, here's the problem. They've got to the point where they're so good at doing that whole." Whatever you want to call it with the synthetic stuff, that even if they make a test to pick it up, they can alter the formula enough that you can pass the test. See what I'm saying? So guess what?
people.
It's what I told people. And
Oh,
here's the thing too, because I guess, and I don't advocate for any of that. Don't get me
no,
wrong.
me either. I don't do any
Okay.
of
I
it.
don't advocate for any of it, but because I see the strain it puts on the whole taxpayer system and how much it clogs up the whole penitentiary system. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Because honestly, if you look, I would easily say probably 60 to 80% of the people that are in there on charges are in there on some type of drug charge. Okay.
yeah.
What me personally, I would do, legalize it. Just legalize all of it.
That's what we did here
Legalize
in
the hell out of
Canada.
it. And just say, hey, you know what? Now you're going to start paying taxes, buddy. You know what I mean? Now, is there still going to be some stuff just like the old prohibition days where people go, okay, we're going to make our, stuff over here that's stronger? Yes. But guess what? I would honestly say 80% of what would be 80 or 90% of what would be going on would be on the legal side.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I mean, come on. It's just that simple. And that way, the people, because guess what? I've worked with people that done that, and I've worked with people that drank. And I tell people I would honestly almost rather work with somebody else smoking weed
yeah,
because a lot of times a person that's working every day and smoking weed, they're not doing it just to be getting stoned out of their mind. You know what I mean? They're doing it just for a little mild high and they're still able to work, or at least what I have seen are able to. Maybe I should put it that way.
yeah,
But guess what? Somebody that's drinking, that's a lot different.
yeah.
Okay?
I agree. And even
That
if they're not doing it during work, they're just doing it after.
right.
I would still
Exactly.
rather have somebody smoking pot regularly than
Well,
drinking.
yeah,
To be
just
honest.
yeah, me too. I mean, like I said, so anyway,
So that's what, yeah, that's what I don't like about those drug tests. It's like you're gonna get somebody in trouble for smoking pot, but alcohol's fine. It's kind of, I don't know.
right, right,
It's
exactly.
little whatever. But we legalized it here in Canada. I don't know how many years ago now, 4, 5,
Yeah.
6 years ago,
Well, see, and I'm not sure
and
where they're at now. Go ahead, go
it's
ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut
it's
you off.
nothing really changed. You got some dispense like you used to have like a beer store or something, and then you got like a pot store beside
Right,
it. And
dispensary. Right,
but what they've done is, okay, so before it was legal, there was people that would obviously grow it and sell it, and breaking the law. And
right,
the trouble they had was they needed people to grow for them. So who did they get? They got these people that were kind of doing it underground, and they said, "Well, come apply to be a grower for the government, but we're not going to look too hard about your history. We're just going to kind of, because they're going to say, well, you didn't pay tax for the last 20 years. How'd you make all your money? Blah, blah, blah." And I seen some of these people too, and you could tell they're like, they've been doing it for a long, long time, but those are the guys
right.
that do it
Exactly,
best, right? So, but now these
exactly.
guys I
Where
have a real job and a real business as opposed to
right,
doing
where
it.
to me, what the government needs to be doing is just say, "Shut the hell up and just pay us the taxes. Don't ask all them
Yeah,
questions. Come on, we know what went on. You know what I'm talking about? But as long as
that's
we
more or
got your
less what
tax."
they did. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right,
So,
right. Just yeah,
but people are allowed to grow
but
their own. You can grow 4 of your own plants every year or whatever at a time. So
right.
if anybody wanted to, that's more than enough. Like you would get more than enough.
See, and I don't know about there, but or I don't. And keep in mind, I do not know how it works here now. But back when they were first trying to do all that over in Colorado, what you were running into with the problem was the state had okayed it, but guess what? On the federal side, it was still against the law.
Yeah.
So you had dispensaries that would say, "Oh, okay, and they would try to go to the bank and open a bank account, but guess what? Because that's falls under federal rule, the banks were like, hold on, we don't know if we can take this money." See what I'm saying? So you would have
Yeah.
dispensaries, and they were saying that was a problem because guess what? The bank would not let
Yeah.
them have an account. So now all of a sudden, like, we got a safe with all this dough because back then, when Colorado was the first state, well, guess what? You had people driving all the hell all over the place. You know what I mean? Driving over just but get the stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway.
That's
But
so
just
funny how the states is like that. Like, because in Canada, like our provinces and the federal government are kind of
yeah,
like more connected. Where down there, it's like a state. Each state is almost like its own country in a way, where it can have some rules
to
that are
to
totally
some
different.
degree, yeah. See, and that's why whenever they
It's
pulled, I
interesting.
wish they really wouldn't have pulled Roe v. Wade because now that to me is a problem you run into is because when they pull Roe v. Wade from the federal, and now what they're saying is the states can decide, is put it in a situation where every state has a different thought process on what
Yeah.
is abortion and what isn't abortion, and you get my drift.
Yeah.
And it just has made it bad, or I think it's made it bad. Because to me, you still need some level of federal oversight where you go, okay, guess what? This is such a touchy subject overall that we just need to say no or yes overall. And you see what I mean? And to me, that's one of those subjects that is touchy enough that you just need to go, okay. You know what I mean? Just
It's yeah. That's a
anyway.
tough one. Yeah.
Right. Because, like, for example, Gundy's, you know, in fact, that same girl I was telling you about, I mean, her and another lady spoke up, and that's what they was talking about. They started talking about that. Talking about, oh, women's reproductive rights, blah, blah. And they was like, yeah, but what if you get raped? And I said, yeah, but you realize out of all abortions, only like one.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And I think most people feel that. Like, if you're anti abortion, I think most people are saying, okay, there's certain situations where, all right, underage, abuse or whatever. There's certain situations where, yes, okay. But, yep. Yeah. 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 And, yeah, yeah. Or they don't usually don't have to wait more than a month, right? Because, so, I mean, yeah. 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 Actually, I don't. Yeah. I don't even have a rules page, but yeah, that's it for me. I just. Yeah, yeah. I don't. Yeah. No. I'm in. Yeah. That's how it goes. Yeah.
Come on, how often do you see? Because I know how often I see. That's why I said this morning. That's why I said that. I said, how often you see somebody that gets up on the weekend and goes, "Hey, I'm doing this if y'all want to show up,"
Yeah.
but you're doing it for you. It's not that you
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
want to help people. You're wanting to get better yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, and you're willing to put in the work and the hours. And sadly, there's a lot of people that don't. It's not that, like, to me, Holy Moly is wanting to learn. It's just trying to find a time where his time and your time link up. Maybe I should put it that way. And even then, to me, the longevity of whether or not he lasts, who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. I mean, that's like when you were talking about that guy you messaged me and he was like, you know, I mean, I'm all about that. But I tell people, to me, it's sort of like somebody drowning. Guess what? I can throw you a life raft out there, but you have to decide whether or not you're gonna calm down enough to grab a hold of that thing. You know what I mean? Start kicking legs and get back in. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
just
hey, hey, Holy Moly's here now. What's going on, buddy?
there you go.
Hello, hello. How are you guys?
Good, good.
We was just talking about you.
Yeah.
Well, I was the one talking about you. I'll be
Should I
honest.
leave? Should I leave now?
No, 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 no.
No.
Hey, I bet that's why he showed up. You probably heard your ears burning. But no, I told him because we was mentioned talking about. I says, look, I told him, I said, hey, that's why I told him, I said, dude, that's why I like you, because even if nobody's here, you jump on the weekend because yes, you want to help, but you're also wanting to make your own style better. You're wanting to learn. You know what I mean? I says, that's like, and that's why I told him I named you because you're here more than anybody else. I said, I don't think Holy Moly don't want to learn, but guess what? Life gets in the way. Sometimes it's just whether or not you can find time where, okay, this time of mine integrates with that time of yours and we can sit down and learn from each other. You get my drift. You know what I mean? That's sort of the way it is. And just like I told him, I says, I've seen so many people, talking about, that does this, that, and I told Dougie that. I said, dude, I says, in a year from now, you're going to look back and go, hey, you know what? I'm using this that coffee give me, and I'm using this that your own trading style changes over time. It's not. And I just tell people if I can contribute something to that, great. You know what I mean? I felt like I accomplished something. You know, I said, that's not saying you're going to use my whole system, but
Yeah.
you get what I mean. And just like I told him, I says,
Yeah,
I said,
yeah,
in a year from now, I said, because this is so hard to succeed at. I'll put it that way. You know what I mean? I said that how do
yeah.
you know in a year from now Holy's ain't gonna still be here? You know what I mean? You don't. How do I know
You
I'm
never know. Yeah.
don't. You see what I mean? I mean, you just right. You it just all depends on. Hey, you know what? I've been trying this and trying this. I have not found my edge. Then some people say I will need to try something different. Some people just say, you know what? No. Or like, dude, I know a guy right now works in you know oil fields. He works on the administration. I guess you could
In
say in the
Texas?
offices. I says, no, he's actually in Louisiana.
No.
But he just got offered a job to step up, farther into his field, and now he can be looking at a six-figure salary. He just does not have the
Mhm.
time to do this like he did before. You know what? I understand that. No problem with it. Yeah, I get it. I would rather take the guaranteed six-figure salary and be home after 5 o'clock and have the weekends off. And if he still
Yeah.
does it, see what I'm saying? But he does it now just for fun. Okay. It's not like before where he was
Mhm.
doing it trying to make side money. I mean, so now if he
Yeah.
don't make it, you get my drift. That's why I tell people, hey, everybody. So am I mad at him? No, I'm not mad at him. More power to him. You know what I mean? I mean, it's very seldom somebody works to get to that level because there's just not that many of those positions. Let's face it. Anyway,
Yeah.
Hmm.
But for me, yeah, I like trading more. I would take the trading over the job, personally. That's just
Yeah.
me. So it's what I like to do. And I kind of did that.
so,
Like I,
yeah, but here's the thing, and that guy is very experienced. Do not get me wrong; he's a straight up ICT guy now. He is a straight up
yeah,
ICT guy, but he puts in so much work because even now, still at his job, like he has his own room where he will post, okay, this fair value gap, and I'm looking for this to go up to here tonight, blah blah blah, and all kinds of stuff. See what I'm saying?
oh yeah,
I mean, he will do call outs and things like that on stuff that has not even happened yet. It's like he's trying to predict the day. Maybe I should put it that way. See what I'm saying?
yep,
Or the night or
Hmm.
whatever. And I respect someone like that. And like he has looked at all my stuff. He got a what you call trend view, just like what I mean. But he will tell me, hey, I do not use your stuff. This is how I buy and sell. This is how I. But he does want to learn, and I will respect someone like that. Okay, I respect that. I got no problem with it. So
yeah. To each their own. That's everybody's gonna have their own style. Like what I do. Like there's not a lot of people that do it. To be honest, even the guy that makes the system and sells it all, he even mentions here and there like it's really hard to. He's trying to sell it. It's really hard to convince people to buy it and sell it because it's not everybody's style. Yeah, and I understand that too, big time. Like I don't expect anybody to start trading like me, but everybody has their own feel too. So yeah, you just gotta find your style, what works for you. I don't see coffee trading the way I trade anytime soon.
you know what? And I tell people what. No, but the reason why I told you that this morning was because here's the thing. For example, like Harry, that same guy I was just telling you about.
Yeah,
Okay, there's a guy named Raw there. He uses all my stuff. Okay, he believes in it firmly. And one morning, him and Harry would get into it. He was like, "Oh, you need to," and I was like, "No, dude. Guess what? I do not think of ICT. It's not that it doesn't have its merits. Maybe I should put it that way. You know what I mean? But to me, most of the people I have met that do ICT and are very successful, they're putting in a level of work just like you are.
yeah,
Okay. So whatever system they used, they most likely would have found success with. That just happened to be the system they found. Okay. Just that simple. Because to me, ICT overall is still really based on price action. It's just based off the Wyckoff method. He just called it something totally different. And you got to remember way back when that stuff first come out, it wasn't like there was internet and everything. Dudes write books, so
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what it is. I mean, it don't matter really the strategy. There's a lot of strategies that work, but it's just putting enough time in to get them to work. And you figure stuff out. It's weird how like if you put a lot of time into something, you just figure certain things out. And it could be like maybe you're able to read price differently, or maybe you figure out a time of day that actually works better than other times, or you just add one simple rule or one simple thing, and it changes everything. But it takes a lot of time to just sitting there and doing it to figure out these little nuances that get you there. And being able to weather the losses, I think that's big. I think people trade something and they get a handful of losses and they get scared and they start changing stuff. So
Yeah,
that's the hard part.
I've done it in the past.
Oh, well, me too, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It,
yeah,
it gets you boiling, right? You're like, oh,
yeah.
so if
But
I had just done this, it would have worked out.
yeah,
So
yeah, 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 yeah.
so then the question is,
And
well,
I think you need to have passion for the church. To be honest, you need to have passion for the church and not for the
yeah,
money.
yeah, oh yeah,
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 yeah. Because for example, when I first started, I started with crypto.
yep,
I learned it from a guy. We were at the beach and he showed me some stuff. I was excited. Yeah, I went back to my home and the first thing I did was to search it on YouTube, the casual stuff. And we started a Discord group, like 15 people.
yep,
When the Bitcoin went to a bear market, I was alone. Yeah,
yeah,
it's like you have to love doing what you're doing. It's not
yeah.
about the money.
I, you
And
know,
that's the reason I was searching for a Discord group that they were active people. Because, for example, when you are on a trade, it doesn't matter if I'm not. I just like watching you, like being on the charts.
yeah,
And here, I don't have this kind of feeling, with someone that has passion and don't care about the money. That what That's what made me stay in the group
oh
because before I was in another group where they're,
yeah,
like Coffee said, they were just asking for how much are you making? Ah, okay. No, not for me. Let's go to another group.
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate it.
I don't know if you understand me. Yeah.
No, I
I don't
understand,
know
and
if you
that's why
understand my English, but
I guess
you know,
that's why the group is the way it is, and there's no like fees for anything because like that's not what it's about. And then also, big thing is the way I record my trades. Everything's in ticks, you know, 17 ticks and
yeah,
number of trades. You don't see money anywhere. I don't go, hey, I made $50,
yeah,
$80, and I was working with a guy that
yeah,
bought
exactly.
this system. He's in the group, but he hasn't talked for a while. His name's I forget what his name is. It's like Mahood or something like that, and a younger guy. And I I told him not to even buy it because I felt like he was just a little bit young and a little bit too like you know too excited about it.
Yeah,
And I knew like what it
yeah,
takes. But he went and did it anyways, and he's like, "Oh, I did replay, and I did good, and I went into the live market, and I lost this." And he would tell me, "Oh, I made $600," and I told him a couple times. I said, "I don't understand what that means." So you're telling me, I don't understand $600. Is that 10 contracts, 20 contracts, one micro?
yeah,
The
exactly.
money doesn't. I don't understand. If you told me, "Hey, I made 50 ticks," okay, I understand that 50 ticks. Okay, that's good. If and then I can calculate it with how many contracts and how much money it could be or whatever, right? So
to me, the
yeah,
problem you run into is somebody doing something like that when it's paper, it's not real.
yeah,
Guess what? You can click pop buy and sell as much as you want because you're not really bringing real emotion into it.
no,
If you have a loss, you're just like, it's a loss. You know what I mean? But when you
Yeah,
turn around, you jump in there and you start doing real, I tell people, guess what? Emotion really does come in then. And to me, someone like that
mm,
that's new, and that is one of those things where to me, either the market teaches you that or it don't. I could tell people, technically, I can teach you how to make money. You know what I can't do? I can't teach you how to stop gambling. I can't teach you how
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
I mean, I tell people, you know how many times I've been in groups where somebody will be sitting there and somebody with experience and somebody new, just like that. And I'm sitting here thinking,
Yeah.
and say they'll be like, "Oh, okay, buy." They buy. It starts going up. You know what I mean? They're telling them, "Okay, sell, get out."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I could make, you know what I mean? And the dude's literally screaming at him, "No, get out, get out, get out now." And where that guy made money, the same guy that got greedy, you know what I mean? Guess what? Come back, bust,
Yeah.
he'd make nothing. Because that
Yeah.
dude's been doing it long enough that he knows that I need to lock in X amount of profit. You know what I'm talking about? Because you just don't know what the market's going to do. To
Yeah.
me, those people that until you learn how to get over the I could have made this, you know what I mean? Or
Ah,
I tell
yeah.
people because that's what people say. I've had people ask me, "Hold on a second. So what's your stop loss?" And I said, "Oh, it's this." So what happens if it hits your stop loss? Okay, hit my stop loss.
Yeah.
Because I told him, I said, "What you don't think I've been where you're at, where I go, okay, hit my $200. Oh, you know what? Here, let me move it down to $400 because it's going to come
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
It's going to come back." You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
get down that $400. And I go, here, let me move it down to $600. It's going to come back. It's going to come back. All of a sudden, where I could have lost 200, now all of a sudden I'm losing 1,000 because I kept saying it's going to come back. It's going to come back. It's going to come back.
It's
And
gonna
guess what?
back.
It never did
Yeah.
come back. I told him, I
No,
said,
no,
I
no.
would rather lose a 200 and if I still have faith in the trade, buy back in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
no. I told people, I said, I said, guess what? You think I hadn't been where you been? Oh, I bought a shit ton of stuff off Hopium. I said, you know what Hopium got me? Nothing. Nothing. I
No,
said, that's
nothing.
why,
No.
I tell you, when you can go to bed every night and know, oh, you know what? I lost $1,000 today. Okay. And it don't even phase you. I mean, yes, it phases, but you know what I mean. I guess I tell people I just been doing this long enough that I know. Guess what? Tomorrow the market might give it back. You know what I mean? And just that's
Yeah.
why guys in that last group to me over trade are in that other group I'm in because they go, oh, well, I can't understand. And I told them, I said, you know what? You should only be shooting for 10% of whatever it is. Okay, let's say I told him, I said, look, you know what? A 50 grand account is so effing common now in a prop firm. Okay. Okay. Usually your
Yeah.
drawdown is going to be $2,000. You should be shooting for 10% of that. That's all you should be shooting for. You should be shooting to make $200 that day. Now, if the market gives me more than that $200, great. I'll take the 400.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take the 600. I'll take the 1,000 if it gives it to me. But if it don't, and I can at least lock in that $200, I'm happy. Because guess what?
Mm-hmm.
I said there's 256 trading days in a year. Let's say you only trade 200 of them. If I can make that $200 and make it every day reliably, you know what I mean? I says, guess what's going to happen? I says, at the end of the year, I just made 40 grand. Okay, let's say you had three accounts.
Yeah.
Now I just made, you know what I mean, 80 grand. Okay, let's say in
Yeah.
taxes, I pay half of that because keep in mind, here on a prop, you're looked at as a 1099 employee, so you have to pay everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get me?
Same as here. Yeah. It's
I
not
mean,
capital gains.
so I tell people, I says essentially you're probably going to lose about half of what you made. So, but still, if
Mm.
I can make 40 grand and do it my way and not have to show up for 9 to 5, am I going to be happy? Yes, I'm going to be
Yes,
happy.
of course.
And guess what? I'm going to be going in NinjaTrader and setting up my ATMs where if I lost $200, I have to lose 10 trades straight, okay, before I pop that account,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
okay? Now, if you're losing
Mm-hmm.
10 straight, there's a problem. There's a problem.
Yeah.
So to me,
Yeah.
if you lose one, I just lost $200. Now, if I want to get back
Yeah.
in, see if I can get back up green, and I do, and I come back and break even and make $200, great, excellent. You know what I mean? It may be the
Mm.
next one I make $400 or make 1,000. It may be I just timed that wrong and I actually catch it where the actual rip happens the second time around. You get my drift. I just tell people, I said,
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
why to me, but here's the problem. You have guys that will lose and then they'll jump in again and lose, and then they'll jump in. And what to me is they let emotion take over. Quit doing that. I
Yeah.
tell people if you lose on the second one, you need to shut that bad boy down. Just shut it down for the day because what's going to happen is emotion's going to take over, and you're going to be what I think of as revenge trading. You're going to be like, I can make it back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tell you, guess what? Even somebody like me, and trust me, I've seen traders much better than me, much better, much better. I don't think I'm even all that
Mm-hmm.
good. Okay. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I've seen guys that I
Mm-hmm.
tell people, you're playing the house's game. The prop is going to win no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how much can you get from them. Because the problem is no matter how good you are, I seen a guy that was $1 million trader, you're still human.
Mm-hmm.
You can still fuck up. Okay. Guess
Yeah.
what? You can
Mm-hmm.
still make mistakes. It happens. It happens.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, I seen a guy that was in the other one that made, I think, $2,000 or $3,000. And then when he got
Mm-hmm.
done, he realized he was totally in the wrong account. Guess what? Happens. It happens.
Yeah.
Then he was
Yeah.
mad because he made money, but he messed up so he couldn't get a payout. See what I'm saying? Because he thought he's in another account.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm just sitting here thinking, wait, you're mad because now you can't get the payout. But what if it would have went the other way and you never even realized you was in that and you lost that money? See what I'm saying? How do
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
I'm just telling I said, how do I know what state that account was in? Because that might have popped that account. See what I mean? And he was like, okay, yes, you're
Yeah.
right. You know what I mean? But and I get why he was mad. It's just so easy at I don't care how good you are, they know you're still human. They know you're gonna make
Mhm.
mistakes. They know you might trade perfectly for a year. All it takes is one off day. That's really all it boils down to. So
You
anyway.
need the break.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, just you know what I mean. To hell. It's not like it's
So you
I'll
think
shut
like
up. I'm just
when
running
you
off the mouth.
sorry?
I said I'll shut up. I'm just running off the mouth.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my point is to me, you have way too many people that shoot for the moon. You know what I mean? That in their
Yeah.
mind they
Yeah.
think, "Oh, I have to make $1,000. Or I have to make,"
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you know what? The
Yeah.
market. I learned a long time ago. It don't matter how strong a man I am, and that's the problem. You're raised as a man to think I can solve it. I can make it work. I can. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're gonna learn eventually. The market is too damn big for you to make it work.
Mhm.
The trend is your friend. You know what I'm talking about? If you bet
Yeah.
against it, it's gonna make you its bitch every time. It's gonna knock you down in a minute,
Mhm.
buddy. I mean, it's just that's the way it is. And when I learned that, I started making money. I learned that guess what? I can't make the market do what I want it to do. And for years, that's what basically I thought I could do, and I couldn't. But did I still make money? Yes. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
mean, but
Mhm.
did I make the money to me I thought I could have made? No. Now looking back, no, I didn't make the money because there were still times where I would just be fucking stupid because I was thinking, oh, well, I can make it do this. All right. Oh no, it's gonna come back. You know. And looking back, you
Mhm.
realize, hell no. The Bears had control. You know what I mean? They're just playing with you. Yeah, just stupid stuff.
But you didn't want to see it.
Do what now? Yeah, basically,
But
you
you
just
didn't
don't
want to
win.
see
Exactly. That's just
it.
it. And
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
just learned now to
Yeah.
the point where I just tell people no. I said to me, you should be shooting just to make a living. So if you can make $200, now if
Mhm.
I can make more, I tell people I won't take what the market will give me. If I can make more,
Mhm.
great. If I can't, that's fine too. But a lot of people, what it is they'll sit there and they'll get that one trade, and all of a sudden they'll see another one, they'll take off and rip, and they're in the green for the day, and then they'll say, "Oh man, I should have took that." You know what I'm talking about? Well, guess what? To
Yeah,
me, I
yeah,
tell
yeah.
people the more and more and more you trade, the more you open yourself up to mistakes.
And
You know what I
risk.
mean? Exactly. And they know that, and that's what they want you to do. That's why I tell
Yeah.
people if you learn to trade, that's why I tell people whatever, let's say, okay, you go in and you get a $1,500 account, okay, like I have. I
Mhm.
says, and the drawdown's 4,000, I'm only looking to make $400 that day. I tell people, I said, now, hey, if the market gives me more than that, great. If it don't,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
fine too. It gives me the freedom
Yeah.
that and most time, y'all, I'm going to be here. I'm over 50. Come on. It's not like I have an active lifestyle. Okay. You know, but I'm here
Mhm.
because I enjoy it. It's a difference. So, I mean,
Yeah,
but I
yeah, yeah,
also am
yeah.
the kind of person because I've told you, Dougie, it's sort of like, there's been times where I go, hey, I won't go sit down and watch TV with my wife or whatever. You know what I mean? So if
Yeah.
I make my $400 and I just want to say, F this, me and my wife are going to go sit in the recliners and watch Yellowstone or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, I mean, I'll go do it. And to me, that's worth more than, you know what I mean? Anyway,
That's why you do trading,
Mhm.
so you can do things like that, right?
exactly. Exactly.
You're
Exactly.
not stressed, and you don't have
There
a
you go.
boss. It's great.
That's just it.
Yeah.
And in fact, I've been thinking about, I looked at last night, was it Take Profit Trader, I think? Because I don't think they have
I looked at them last night
I
too.
don't think they have a consistency rule. You know what I mean? I just remember I was reading on Reddit and somebody was saying that they know that, you know what I mean? Because they were saying, and I've always thought they were pretty solid, them and Top Step, and
Yeah.
because I
Yeah.
know they've been around a while, and they'll let you have up to 5 accounts. You know what I mean? Where right now all I have is 3 with my funded futures.
Mhm.
You know, but for what you have to realize, y'all, also for where I live and the cost of living here, you know what I mean? And pretty much all my stuff is paid for. If I'm only bringing home 40 something grand a year, overall, I'm still making more than what most people here are making. The cost of living, what
Mhm.
most people make here is very, very low. It's not
Really? Eh?
uncommon for people who making 25, 30 something grand a year. You know what I mean?
What? You're in Louisiana,
it's
you
not,
said?
no, 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 I'm in Mississippi. It's
Mississippi.
just not super great paying jobs here. See what I mean?
No.
And
Yeah,
here's
I
the
get
thing,
it.
y'all. If you really find somebody that has a very good paying job and they do hit retirement, do you think they take retirement? No, a lot of times those people will stay right there for another 10 years. You know what I mean? Unless the company
Yeah.
forces
Mhm.
them out. You know what I mean? Because they know what they're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
give up.
Exactly the same
You
situation
know,
right here.
I said, I tell people it's so hard to move up. You know what I mean? That just, uh,
Yeah.
it makes it a situation where it makes it very, very hard to climb any type of ladder. And even then, because I'm sure this is universal everywhere y'all at too. I tell people, I say, guess what? It's also in who you know and who you're kin to. Because you could be an excellent worker. And the person I say who gets advanced, the boss's son, the boss's cousin, or whatever, or you know what I
Yeah,
mean, or
yeah,
somebody
yeah,
that,
yeah.
oh, you went to school and got a degree for that? Who gives a shit? You know what I mean? My dumbass son that
Yeah,
don't know what he
yeah.
needs, he needs to make more money. I mean, I'm just being honest. Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
y'all see it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
I
true, bro.
mean, so it's not uncommon here. Let's say like there'll be a firehouse and somebody getting charged. Well, before you know it, within 1 2 years, as people step out, or over time, maybe I should put it that way. Everybody in that firehouse with, say, 10 years, let's say, might be everybody in there might be kin to the guy that's running. Because if somebody leaves or they transfer or whatever, you know, they're going to bring on somebody that,
Mhm.
and they're just going to, okay, go to school because come on, you can go to school to be a fireman here, and that's like a 3 month course or something silly. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's not like it's oh my
Yeah,
God, something you have to, you're going to
yeah,
put years and years in. You know, I mean, just you see what I mean, though. I mean, they just sort of slowly
yeah.
work in their whole family to some degree. So anyway. That's why I think it's funny,
Yeah.
because what I always thought was funny with those people at home that actually somebody would actually step up and go to college, you know what I mean, and get a degree, and would come back home, and because they could not find a job in that particular field, you know, then they'd end up getting a job at the local factory. Well, when the factory started doing layoffs, who do you think the first person was
Yeah.
that got laid off? The person with a degree,
Yeah.
because actually they were really supposed to be making more money.
Yeah.
So they would lay them off first. I told people, I said, it almost was like a slap in the face. So just, well, I mean, it's sad to say that, but true.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you didn't go, I mean, especially where I was at, if you did not go to school for something that was what I would consider something needed here, like teaching or something in the medical field
Yeah.
or something, you see what I'm saying?
They
Something
got a
that you
degree in the
know,
arts or history or
right.
something.
If you got something silly, or you went to
Gender
school for,
studies.
right. Well, and it might not be that. Let's say you went to school for be a realtor.
Yeah.
That's not like that's a super large, see what I'm saying?
No,
But
you
you
got
went
your
to
couple
school for,
realtors and
was like some type of advertisement or something like that. Okay, yeah, in New York or some large metropolitan area, you might come on. In Mississippi, how many people really you think really being hired for? Come on now, just things like that. That's where to me you have to, you need to be logical. Maybe I should put it that way.
yeah.
And some people just, and some things you're even going to school for only have a certain pay cap. Okay, I mean, so in other words, if you're going to school to be a vet, you know what I mean, or let's say a vet tech or whatever, where you're not really a vet, okay, how much
Yeah.
money you really think you can be working, working under a vet? I mean, you get my drift.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not like, anyway.
That's funny. But hey, it's good they lay those people off with a degree because you know what? The people without the degree, they need that job more, I think. But
Well, I get your drift. It's just I always thought it was funny
yeah.
that
Whatever. Yeah. But hey, how come so you're looking at Take Profit Trader? Just I actually looked into them the other night. They don't look half bad. But how come you don't use Apex? You're turned off by the rules and stuff like that.
it's not that. From what little bit I see, I think, and mind you, this is just what little bit I see. I
Yep.
think Apex has learned from their past mistakes. I think they realized that, hey, all that, hey, make them send a video, and I think they realized that was messed up. Okay, and keep in mind, this is all just simply off of what I see. To me, I think Apex is fine if you're doing, let's say, what I do, okay, where you're content to make $400 a day or whatever, and you're getting a nice little payout every, of say $1,000 or $800 or whatever. The people that was, I believe, because I don't think they had the back end
They didn't
stuff
have the
in place.
staff.
Maybe
Yeah.
right.
And the
What?
rules.
Well, where they would say, "Oh, we're going to be mimicking your trades and this and that." I don't think they were doing any. I think they were just simply going off of the money they was making every month. You're talking about,
Yeah.
people popping accounts and paying people
Mm.
out. And now even though they're doing things, you still run to people that are making very good money that, from what I can tell, are having a hard time getting payouts. So I personally feel what they are doing is they're taking the people that come in, they're getting a small, say $400 or $1,000 payout. You know what I mean? And they don't know all the history, and they're paying them so they can jump on and give this wonderful review saying about, oh, they're great, they're wonderful. You know what I mean? And just trying to kind of work past their past. But I don't know that I think they're solvent enough between the lawsuits and everything that's going on that, do I know if they're going to be here in, you get what I mean, a
Yeah.
year or whatever. I don't know that.
They got a
So that
lawsuit going on.
it makes me, yeah, I
I
think
gotta
so.
look it
Want
up.
to say that, but anyway, all I'm saying is it makes me a little leery. And because to me, they are much more rampant about changing rules very often than most others, say like Top Step, or you get my drift, some of the others out there. to me, it's like they're changing rules to some degree to benefit them, just to try to keep from making a payout sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get that, but at the same time, come on. To me, Top Step don't have to change rules that often. I mean, my Funny Futures don't have to change rules that often. Come on now. I mean, it just makes me think, eh, I just don't know that I'd want to, because trust me, dude, I used them for a little over 2 years, never had a problem. But do I want to necessarily step back into that? I tell people, I say it gets to the point where you get kind of a bad taste in your mouth, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to keep dealing with them. So, I
Well,
mean,
I was just
so,
thinking of a way for you to have more accounts. I mean,
yeah. Well, dude, don't get me wrong.
because you
I'm
can just do the
happy
same
where
thing
I
you're
am.
doing,
Yeah,
add accounts.
I'm happy where I'm at. See, that's the only reason why I don't like Top Step. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, like that other one I'm in, a lot of those guys, like I was telling you, they'll have 10 or 15 accounts all together. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, because they have them with different companies, if, let's say, for example, Top Step, they pop the rule, if that makes sense, okay?
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and miss the 20% rule or whatever. For example, like Gundy has them. You know what I mean? And he'll tell you that, if he'll just say, okay, I missed that payout, but he knows he's getting a payout from another firm. Does that make sense? So he don't care.
And
So to
why would
him,
he
he's still
miss the
making money.
payout?
Right, right. Well, for example, one day
The
he goes
drawdown?
over and he pops their no. You have to realize that they have that 20 something percent, because it's this rule where you're supposed it where I can't remember with them. It's where like one day can't be more than 50% or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, but let's just say you turn around and you jump in something and something gets fat fingered, okay, and all of a sudden you have a candle go out of the middle of nowhere, that shouldn't have. All right, guess what? Things happen.
And you
You
made a
know,
bunch. You made a
Yeah.
bunch of money or
you're
something.
right, and you
Yeah.
pop
Yeah.
their rule, and they do not. Now, or is Top Step going to go in and say, "Hey, we're going to take that money out"? No, they're not. They're going to leave the money there. It's just the only thing is guess what? He's still getting a payment from my funded futures or whoever else. I don't know who all he uses now. I can't remember. So he's still making money. He just looks at it as, okay, guess what? The next week or the next 2 weeks or whatever. I can't remember how their payout works. You know what I mean? I'll just get it then. That's the way he looks at it. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the market. Nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah.
So,
And it's only a prop firm, so.
right. I mean, that's just the way it is. See, that's like him. Like me, a lot of times, I don't really do that anymore. Like him, he thinks nothing at all of, like, if for some reason, once in a blue moon, he'll pop an account, you know, and he'll just buy another one. And what he does is he thinks nothing at all of just saying, hey, you know what, news is coming up, and which most all places do that. Even my Fund of Futures will do it. If you want to pass the account that day, you know, they just will throw a big bet in. I'm talking about, and pass it that one day and go on.
That's what I
I
did.
told Gundy, I says, yeah, and there's nothing. I tell people there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it. I
You don't
used to
even need
do it.
news. Just market
Right.
open or market
Well,
close.
yeah. I mean, exactly. Well, to some degree, yes. Well, now you have to remember, most time I'm doing 150. You know what I mean? So a lot of times you'll still come up a little short because you're talking
Yeah.
about sometimes, say, 9,000 or 12,000 or whatever the particular place wants you to make. Okay. But I just tell people, I said, thing is I've just got to the point where I can just trade regularly. And usually within about, a week, maybe 2 weeks, I can pass it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's not like, oh, I need the money off that one account no matter what. So I complain. In fact, I tell people to do it. I say, hey, if you had the money, you can throw that down and do the news and make it that one day and just go ahead, because that's what Gundy does. He just like, hey, but he also goes, hey, if it pops, he don't care.
No.
You know what I mean? He just gonna go spend another, because he would rather go ahead and get done that one day and just get it out of the way.
That's what I
And
did.
I get that.
I did
I
in
get
2 weeks. I got like 20 accounts in 2 weeks, and because
Yeah.
they had half
Well,
price
that's
resets
right.
and that 90%
Yeah.
off, and one day to pass. So I would just set my ATM strategy. I think it was like 63 ticks on the 50K
Yeah.
account, because that was exactly it was exactly the target you needed to pass. And I would
Uh-huh.
just get in, and if it would hit it, then good. If it didn't, then I would just reset it for like $40 until I got it. So, and then once they're live, then you trade them properly.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah, they're all right that way. But yeah, I might look into other prop firms so just to see for like consistency and stuff like that. Yeah, I was just wondering. Like, I was thinking that you should like grab more just because. Why not do the same thing and make more
Well,
money?
and keep in mind, dude, if you're comfortable with where you are, you're not as apt to. And it's not that I don't look. It's just most of the time with the places that I look at, when you really start digging, because a lot of times people say, "Oh no, Top Step." Once you actually get in and you pass, there's no consistency. You know what I mean? And I'm just like, yeah, but then it's like 5 days straight. What if I decide I want to take a day off? I said, and there's nothing wrong with that. Guess what? I'm usually going to be here every damn 5 days anyway.
Yeah,
I tell people, I says, you get my drift. It's nothing more than, to me, rules they put in place so they can better meter how their payouts go out, if that makes more sense. I don't know how to
yeah,
put it that way. Because I tell people it's all stuff that if you are actually doing this every day, and you know what I mean, and you're playing, okay, I want to take a vacation, then you're not. It's not going to upset you that you miss those 5 days. See what I'm saying? Just little things like that. I'll put it that way. Or let's say you miss a day. Well, now you know you're not going to get that payout because you didn't do 5 days straight, or whatever. That's why I tell people you just have to look at those rules and see
yeah,
what those rules state, because you can use those rules to your advantage the same way they can.
yeah. You
Anyway,
can for Apex. I think it's you can get paid every 2 weeks, but you got to have a minimum of like five
right,
trading days. So you don't have to trade every day, but you have to
right.
trade at least half of them.
And that's why I tell people, I said, guess what? It's not that I'm just going off of what I just know that I've had traders in Gundy's group where they have told me, hey, I can't get a payout this time because, and I know they're funded, you know what I mean? They'll tell you, hey, and most time when they're telling you that, they're not telling you that because they're mad. You get my drift. They're just
Yeah,
saying, hey, I happen to make this and threw off the whatever, and anyway. So I get it. I'm not. So that's why I've also had people tell me that, hey, no, in Top Step, once you get funded, there is no consistency rule. And I was like, well, I haven't seen that in writing anywhere. You know what I mean? And the other people in the other group I work with, I've had them tell me that they do not even put in because they've done it before in the past and they got turned down. Because
oh,
they're usually people that are tracking that stuff each and every day in Excel or group, because you can track it. You can track, okay, this payout was this, I made this much this day. So yes, it fell within these parameters or whatever. You know what I mean? Anyway. So that
yeah,
way, you're either above or below, because that's why a lot of times those guys that, they're trying to hit a certain amount so they fall within whatever that amount's supposed to be, so they don't go over or under or whatever. And that's why I tell people that's the only reason I like my funny future, because guess what? There's none of that. None of it. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, what you make's what you make. That's the
how do
way it is.
you how do you copy your accounts? Do you copy them or you just trade them individually?
No, with Replicanto, I had the Apex way back in the day when I had
Yeah,
Apex. I'm talking about, but I got rid of it when I got rid of the Apex stuff. I'm sure I could have kept right on using it if I
yeah,
wanted to. You just have to realize that when all that stuff was going on, I really was not sure of what Apex's future was going to be. See what I'm saying? So I wanted something that I knew would be there from now on, and that's all Replicanto does, or
yeah,
whatever the was. I can't remember the name of the company that, you get my drift.
yeah. I've seen that
That makes
copier.
that yeah, that's all they just make that and other software, but that's the software they're most known for. Let me put it that way. Where Apex, I think, made it out of convenience. So I'm saying, for their customers.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Anyway,
just yeah. So they could have their own. I think they
And
charge too for it, don't they?
well, yes,
Apex.
they do, and in
Yeah,
fact, they
it's like a
charge you the
hundred
same
bucks.
amount as, right. It's not like there's a price difference. They made it
Yeah,
the same price. You know what I mean? Because I looked at both of them back whenever but I was trading all Apex then. You know what I mean? So I was like, why not? And it worked. Hell, you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, I might have, let's say, okay, let's say I had, 10 accounts that got filled, at a different price. Well, most of the time the price was like within 10 cents difference. You know what I mean? It was so close that it was like, does it really make, see what I'm saying? To me,
Yeah.
it was nothing more than, okay, you sent the order out and it hit that main and it sent out all the daughter accounts or sister accounts or whatever you want to call them. You know what I mean? And so it's just that very small variance of the seconds of the fail. That's the best way I know how to put it. You know what I mean? I said, so yes, you didn't catch the
Order
dead on
filled.
same price, but that small amount of slippage was not that big a deal to me. You know what I mean? So it's like, who cares? That's a lot of what gets me in the other group because you have a lot of guys that they'll have a bunch of accounts. It's like, okay, I made 200 in this one. Now let me switch to this one. Or I made this much in this one. Now look, and I'm just like, "Shit, get a copier." I'm,
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Order
why are
filled.
you? And then what if you mess up on that one? Because yes, I've seen them do it. You know what I mean? So now you're spending more time trying to get that one green and switch to another one. No, I'm just I would rather just click buy and it goes across all three.
Yeah, I
And
don't see
you're just
I don't see the advantage of not using one
exactly. See, and I can
unless
set the ATM up so it works on all three of them. I mean,
yeah,
it makes it so simple, so simple.
unless
And
they're trying to split up.
whatever
Yeah,
I do on the main, the others are gonna copy it. So if I
yeah,
do you know, was it a flat and all or whatever, you know what I mean, close, it's gonna do it on all the accounts. I tell people if for any reason the copier messed up, everything before I've seen in the past is because something I done wrong. It wasn't because of something the copier done wrong. I'll put it that way.
yeah. Yeah, they're pretty
It's usually
solid.
because, I did not have something turned on right, or that particular account I did not have it set up to follow. You get my drift.
Yeah.
But it's been so long since I've had
That,
any trouble with that.
yeah. Guys, sorry to interrupt. I need to go because I need to fix the heating machine with my
Yeah.
Yeah,
father.
dude, no problem. I hate I
Good to
burned
see
up all
you.
your time if you want to
Can you
ask
hear me?
questions. I said I hate I burned up all your time just running off the mouth if you want to ask questions.
Sorry.
He said,
Well, I guess I will also find you in the next day, in the next
"Okay, we'll
couple
see
of
you.
days. So
See you
I
when you
guess
come back.
you're gonna be online.
I'll
Yeah,
be here."
yeah, because I also got work after that. So yeah, it will be difficult today. I will be online again tomorrow, I guess.
Okay, well,
Or
we'll
if you
see you
are
tomorrow.
later, I may join.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
See
Take
you
care.
guys. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
But
Order submitted. Order filled.
I know there's a little bit of a language barrier there. I just
yeah,
hate
yeah,
that, you know what I mean, if he jumped on wanting to ask and then we got to talking and sometimes I wish somebody like that would just say, "Hey man, do you mind if I?" Because I don't mind. Just
yeah, yeah.
okay, yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't.
you know,
I don't know either way. Doesn't bother me. I think he just likes to hang out more or less.
true, true. Well, dude, I tell people I'm far enough along that I would like
Order
to know that if
submitted.
somebody comes in new. You know what I mean?
Order
Sometimes I'll just
submitted.
leave because I want to know that they can, because I don't want them thinking that, okay, me and you is talking and they can't step in. See what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Order filled.
Because to me, that's what it's about.
Stop
I
filled.
think. Anyway,
Tough trading session. Looking losses after losses. This is right. I'm trading October, so this is October 24, about a month before the election too. So it's the price action's a little bit different. It's I don't know. It's weird. Market knows the difference. And now, but now the price action, like the real time now, it's a lot better than me. I was gonna ask Holy Moly if he had any questions about anything, or like, well, he did kind of explain. I was just wondering like why he shows up. I don't know. Just to see what he was thinking. I don't know. They don't expect somebody to buy this stuff. It's like $7,000 for all of it. So
Oh darn! I didn't realize it was. Dude, I
yeah,
went and looked at the because you have a link to like his. So I
the
looked at the
YouTube.
stuff. I
Yeah.
guess I never looked at prices. See what I'm saying? So because I had not even heard of that system. You know
No,
what I mean?
nobody
Until
has really.
a lot. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for the whole, not just the indicators, you get like the data downloader, and you get like theme changers, and I forget what else there's like a whole add-on suite that has nothing to do with the indicators, but it's just to modify NinjaTrader in certain ways. There's like, I don't know what there is. I don't even know what all there is, but there's buttons, there's workspace managers. I don't know. But anyways, the best deal is just to buy it all, and then you get access to his room for like forever for free. Like there's no payments after that. But yeah, it's like I think I got it on sale for like 55 or 6, but yeah, it's like $7,000 or more for everything American Saw. That's why I was saying like I don't really expect anybody to like be like, "Oh, I like it. I'm going to go buy it." So I was just wondering like what he comes in for. But I think maybe the conversation too, just like you said, it's I guess it's a little different. We only got a couple people, but you know, the other rooms they're just I don't know how to explain it even. I guess they're just less professional in a way. I hate to call myself a professional at this point, but you know, I I would say I'm probably trading more like a professional, even though I'm not one. I wouldn't say yet, but and same with you, right? And yeah, I think that's probably what he appreciates.
Dude, here's the thing. I'm sorry. I'm trying to talk to this guy on Fiverr. Why?
Yeah, yeah,
Anyway.
yeah.
Um. And what was it? I guess the way I look at it is I don't think of spending that money as bad if you are willing to commit to that. You get what I mean.
Yeah,
So in other words, like if you sit there and you said, "Hey, Coffee, I like and appreciate your system. You know what I mean? But this is what I actually use to trade, and this is what I know." The same way Henry did to me, in the other, what do you call it, that does the ICT stuff. So here's the thing. If as long as I know that, yes, you're
Order
looking at
filled.
it, and to you it makes sense. The way I see it, that as you learn and grow, you see what I mean? Over time, you might go, "Hey, I want to implement this. I want to implement and whether that means that you implement it into what you already have now, to, because I always said, to me, it should sort of, you know what I mean, coincide or give what you already have now meaning. The same way my
yeah,
zigzag, to me, my flux, you know what I mean? It gives it more validity, if that makes sense. You know, and it may be you get a year from now or 2 years from now, and you're like, "No, I'm happy with what I got." You know what I mean? I'm making money. I make 500 a week. I'm making $1,000 a week. Whatever. Okay. You know what I mean? It may be a year from now you say, "Hey, no, you know what? I like this. I work this in, but I'm also using this." That's where, to me, just because even me, my strategy has changed over time. There's a lot of stuff that's still there. You know what I mean? To me, I guess you could say what I look at as far as like for my core for trying to find momentum, trying to find volume, trying to find those things change over time. That's the best way I know to put it. I
Yeah.
tell people, I said, what I have now, I'm confident in that I will probably be using it for quite a long time. You know what I mean? I don't look for it to change anytime soon.
I think it's going to
Um,
get better what you're doing.
but well, you know what I mean.
I honestly think
But
once you move it to Ninja, you're going to find out that you have access to better data, and it's
right,
going to work better for you if you get the right guy to write it up for you, or whatever. If you get it written right the
exactly,
way it should be,
exactly.
I think it'll work better. To be honest,
So
I'm excited. But yeah, I'm happy that you shared that, and I'm gonna always be watching it, and I still have it up. I have it up right now. I can just drag it over. I don't know if you're watching, but yeah, I have it up. And I was
uh-huh.
scrolling through it and stuff. And yeah, I like it. I like Ninja Trader better though. Like just the windows and everything like that. I like TradingView is good. I like it, but I don't know what it is. There's just something about when it's on Ninja. I just like using it better. But so what you were just getting your zigzag done, right? So what do you call that? You're calling that like your Pivot Pro Elite, or your
Dude, what I used to
right
call it
now?
forever and a day was the Revan line because to me, I tell people what it's basically looking for is the reversal. And it's doing nothing more than printing a line between those reversal points. See
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So for years and years and years, the whole time I was on Thinkorswim, I called it the Revan line. When I first came over here, I called it the Revan line. You know what I mean? And that's what held forever and a day. But whenever I said, hey, I'm going to make this Discord and I'm going to help people and I'm going to blah, 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 I thought I need to give it some weird, cool, catchy name. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, yeah,
So I called it the Pivot Prof because I tell people, I says like, okay, what it does is find pivots, but I don't know where it's going to find that pivot. That gave it the profit. You know what I
yeah.
mean? You know, they can tell you what's out there. They just can't tell you exactly. You get my drift. Anyway, I turned around basically and I was just like, hey, I says, I just never really cared for that name. You know what I mean? So that was why I finally switched over and I just call it the Pivot Pro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, hey, and I'm probably just going to leave it at that name from now on. You know, I was like, yeah, hey, I'm not going to, because when I turned around the first day, I was like, oh, I call it that. But nobody does it. Everybody, come on, everybody just says, like, even with Revelation, like the reversal. Because I said that. I was just going my reversal code. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My reversal script or whatever. So nobody call it the pivot. They just call it reversal. When I call it the pivot profit, everybody's going, your pivot. And I would do the same thing, my pivot. You know what I mean? So that's why I was just like, hey, I'm just going to, you know. Now, the flux, people do call that the flux because they don't really know what it's based on.
Yeah.
And I damn sure ain't really pretty much going to tell you what it's based on. You know what I'm talking about? I mean,
Order
which I
submitted.
told Raul and several other people, I was like, hey, I'm probably going to put the code out there eventually. I says, you know what I mean? I said, but no, not right now. I says, because to me, that's my baby. I just tell
Yeah.
people, I say, you can say what you want. I said, dude, and it's not that you just don't ever know. You don't want to take a chance on somebody. Because I will agree with what's his name on that. You're talking about, because you can get somebody signed NDA or whatever.
Yep.
But do I really want to go hire a freaking lawyer and start, come on. No.
No.
I said it's way too you're still
Order
going off
filled.
of hoping there. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Unless you're
That's
looking to make 5 or 10 mil off it, okay, go get a lawyer, go get set up. But like realistically, you know,
exactly.
are you gonna get to that point? You could maybe, but are you willing to put in the effort
I
to
doubt
sell
it.
it and
I
to do
doubt it.
that?
Well, here's the problem, dude.
What
You
for?
have no. I tell you why. Because, and I'm sure you're starting to realize this. If you actually have, that's just like to me, no different than that guy you're talking about has the Ninja whatever website.
Yeah.
That's a lot of damn work. Okay, you're literally almost running a business by yourself. So I tell people, I said, running a Discord is, you have to keep up with it, or people doing stupid shit. You know what I'm talking about? Come
Yeah.
on. It's just good old fashioned, you know, because I've listened to, there's some dude that I used to watch on YouTube a lot. You know what I mean? I just have him go in the background. A lot of times I'd listen to him that does that algo box. You know what I'm talking about? And I know he said in one of his videos, he was like, look, he said, I have got it to the point to where he has some bot that makes it where nobody can DM nobody. You know what I'm talking about,
Oh,
because he said, I have actually had people getting freaking romances, you know what I mean? And they're wanting to start messaging me talking about freaking sexual harassment. But look at how big he is. You know what I'm talking about,
wow.
And he said it just opens a bunch of bullshit. You know what I mean? So he was like, look, if you cannot get on there with everybody else and me and tell me what the hell you're thinking, I don't want you to DM somebody else and tell me what you're thinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I agree with him. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, he just says, y'all don't understand. It just creates problems. And I see what he means. When you have that many people in your Discord, when you have that many, you know, so and he also, because the reason I watched him was because he would talk a lot about so many of those other gurus. You know what I mean? That's what I always thought was funny because
Yeah.
that was the reason why I watched a lot of his stuff. But I just remember he basically just said, he was like, "This is why I do what I do." I just tell people, do I really want to? If I'm successful now where I am, and that's why I've told people I understand. Like, let's say somebody like Harry, you know what I mean, are successful at what they're doing. I'm going to provide my stuff because I'd like to know what's out there and it may help someone. To me, like Wish Johnson, Raw, that's two guys that to me, it is very, very much help because they were in the other group and I don't think ICT really resonated with
Yeah.
them, if that makes sense. Okay. Some people it works great for. Some people it does not. You know what I mean? I said, so I came in and I actually already knew Raw from the old board, from Sniper's old board. You know what I'm talking about? Some of those guys in that board actually came from another board that came from another board before. Anyway, that's a whole long story, man. Trust me.
Yeah.
Anyway, and me and Raw had spoke some before, you know what I mean, in the old Discord, Sniper's old Discord. You know what I mean? And but the room he was in, Harry was in that room with us too. And because I would not say, because I don't, the way my stuff works, I look at it as real time. Does that make sense? Now,
Yeah.
can I go back and go, okay, yesterday the high was this, and I think this is going, sure. But is that going to happen? I don't know. You know what I mean? To me, you're just making a prediction. To me, even any forward indicators you use, all they're really doing is making prediction. Like I tell people, Fibonacci, okay, if it hits that level, that's not saying it's going to go hit the next level. That's just saying that's what it could do. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, there's some indicators that to me are forward looking in a way. You know what I mean? And you just have to understand there are limitations in the information they're giving you. I'll put it that way. You know, that's why when
Yeah.
you saying why I pull on that text about the Ichimura cloud, I was like, hey, yes, because I've studied a lot of stuff. That's not saying I use it, but that's the reason I studied it because I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just turn around and I just learned that everybody in their journey is different. You just have to find what works for you and gives you your sort of edge. Okay. So, is Raw gonna get on there and yes, he has got on voice because to me he's brand new and he thinks he's found this wonderful little toy that makes him money. You know what I mean? Even though he's been investing for quite a while, he thinks this magic thing that everybody should be doing. So he'll go,
Yeah.
"Oh, coffee's this. Oh, coffee's that." Well, one day Henry put him in check. Henry was like, "Look, man, I'm buying and selling off of my shit." You know what I mean? Because he was like, "Oh, you should be using this." And I sided with Henry because I told myself, Raw, I understand what you're doing because when I first got it, I was the same way. I thought I'd
Yeah.
found this, like ICT says, this wonderful silver bullet
Yeah.
that's going to make me a multimillionaire. You're talking about, well, I realized that guess what? You can't change people. That's just like I told you. So when you sent me that message saying, hey, let's talk to him, I learned that you can talk to people all day, but if they're making money and they're happy, they don't care. They have to
Yeah.
want to change. So yeah, it's different if the guy goes, because I didn't know, you have to realize I don't know that I really kind of knew the whole thing of that situation. But, if the guy's only making, say, 2 trades or whatever, because you messaged me something about, hey, I
Yeah,
want to talk
yeah.
to you.
Just some guy. I don't know.
Right. And basically I was just like, hey, I said, if I said, I have no problem, putting him on my stuff. And if he wants to use it, great. You know what I mean? But here's the thing, you also, just like to me, you are like me. You have no problem saying, I'll throw it up there and just watch it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my stuff, but I'm going to throw yours up there and watch it because that way you learn the intricacies of the system and sort of the finesse. Maybe that's the best way how to put it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so but you have a lot of people that they're not willing to do that. If you're not willing to, and that's what I cannot for the life of me understand how you probably have somebody that will go drop 7 grand, like you was talking about on a system. But then, if you're not willing to sit down, to me, you have to have the discipline. Sit your ass down by
Yeah.
yourself and say, I'm going to learn this. I'm not going to depend on Dougie to help me. You know what I mean? Now, I want him to help me. And if he helps me, that's great. And if we can get together so I can learn things from him, that's great too. But this is what I'm going to base things off of. Now, do I feel guilty if, let's say, I was to buy that 7 grand and I've seen what you do, and you've even put up some of the stuff you make in a week, you know?
Yeah.
So yes, and to me, what the guy's doing, he is doing to me. That's what I will use to tell people. I says, y'all, I can make an indicator, but guess what? It makes no difference. I need to make something that if somebody pulls it up and they don't know what's going on, you need to make something who don't have a fucking clue can put it up on their chart and it makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And to me, that system does that very well. It's just that simple. It's not about, okay, it's this EMA. It's not about, now the science behind it. I'm sure you understand it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I kind of get it. You know what I mean? But let's just say if you're, Bob that's retired and you don't want to learn about EMAs or, you know what I mean? If he's serious and won't say, yes, I want to invest in this, you know what I mean? And he actually, yeah, he can make money off of it. And it's as simple as, okay, let me, this star popped up, I'm supposed to do this. This popped up, I'm supposed to, you get my drift.
Yeah. It's pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Where it's not where you have to say, oh, okay, where you and me are like, okay, I hit the second standard deviation, I'm returning to mean, blah, blah, blah. I just tell, but you have to plan for people like that too. And that's the best way I know how to put it. And because to me, you should try to, I told people what my goal was with the flux was I want to make it where if old Bob, who don't know what EMA is, wants to come in and try to start learning it, is it going to give him the finite data he needs? No. But is it going to give him enough to go off of to possibly, see what I'm saying? Say, hey, yes, I think this is something that you get my drift.
Yeah. It's
Anyway, I can say, yeah, I think I can actually buy here and I'm okay. Okay. Because that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to put it where, okay, he can buy, and if he sets everything right and he will lose $200 and it goes against him, okay, that's okay. But the signals were there that it should work out, and he decides I won't go back in, and that second time around it pops. Right. So, I mean, but you try and just make it simple. And to me, that's what the system you are using does.
yeah.
To me, what
for sure.
ICT if you really, come on, let's face it, if you really want to, you get my drift.
And I've looked into ICT for a couple of hours. Well, I mean, a couple of years ago, but yeah, like I put a good amount of hours into it, and it still wasn't entirely clear, like what it was in a way. Like I understood a little bit of the
Uh,
theory, but like what the trades were and everything. So they're good. Yeah, this system, it is pretty straightforward and easy to understand. But the thing is, it's hard to execute. That's where the system gets you. It's like a trade could come up, and it's got all the little symbols, right? And two guys could trade it. One will lose, one will win, just because one guy got a bad entry, or he just. Sometimes I wait to get in too. Like the star comes up, that's my thing. But if it's moving in a certain way, I'll just hesitate for a second or two, and it'll pop up more, and I'll get a better fill, and then I'll hit my target quicker as opposed to the other guy who whatever maybe didn't wait or. So it's those things that make it work. You know what I mean? So it's straightforward of how it works, but executing it is where it's going to make it profitable or not. So
yeah.
that's why I practice so much, because it's not really with this system anyways, there's nothing I need to know or decide. I just need to get good at getting in and reading the price action as I'm ready to get in. So, and I think this is my style of trading too. There's another guy, I'll show you. Maybe he's just got videos. His name's Trick Trades, and I've been following this guy for like eons, since like probably 2017. Like he was almost one of the first dudes that I liked, and he's a cool guy. He was a welder, a pipeline welder here in Alberta, and actually, he only lived about an hour or two from where I live right now. So he used to be up in the oil fields, and he had his own truck and stuff, and he would weld pipeline. And eventually he learned to trade, and now he moved to Costa Rica. But I watch this guy all the time. He's like, he swears and stuff in his YouTube video. He'd be like, if you don't...
Yeah, because they have no capital gains
No.
tax, so that's a big...
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he went down there. But anyways, he's like, subscribe, don't be an asshole, subscribe to the video and like the video and stuff. He'll call people assholes and stuff. I just get a kick out of him. But
Right.
what he does is eventually, he thought he found the Holy Grail, and I guess for him he did. But one time, probably like 4 years ago, he realized that instead of trading stocks, he could just trade options, single leg options, long puts or long calls. And you could use way less capital and have gains up over 100% on your position. Anyways, so I've been following him along, and I've been in and out of his room. It's paid for, but I've been in and out like a month or two at a time, and I just follow and everything. And basically what he does is he trades the market open, but he scalps, like really quick moves. So he'll find levels like pre-market highs, daily highs, or daily moving averages, and he'll wait for price to push into those, and then he'll take them the other way. So if it pushes up, he'll take it short, but not long. Like he'll say he buys a contract at 80 cents, he'll start peeling out at like 90 cents, 95 cents. Like he doesn't go for big moves, and then he'll hold a couple runners and stuff like that. So, and he's usually in and out of his trades, well, the bulk of it, like the first 10, 20 minutes. And yeah, so I follow him, and I do it sometimes, but I just do it on like the stock side. And it works out good for me. I don't know, like it's the same thing as this, where I think that my niche in the market is reading price action and quick scalps, as opposed to longer term moves and stuff like that. So anyways, yeah, I watch him all the time, and he makes, like, he shows his profit every day. He makes decent money. Like he'll probably, he does all right. Some days he's like 18,000 on a trade and whatever, but I'm sure he has losing days as well. But yeah, I really like what he does, and it's difficult to do. He averages in, averages out, and yeah. So I'll show you one day. But I've been following this guy for a long time. He's kind of like, I look up to him, because
Well, and dude, that's why I like guys like that. That's just like
Yeah.
the dude with the which I have not watched him in, I bet probably a year. The Algo Boss guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he will tell you straight up, and that's what I liked about him. He will tell you straight up. He was like, guess what? Without my indicators, I could not do what I do. Okay. He was like, without you get what I mean. I mean,
Yeah.
I just always thought it was anyway. Uh, so yeah, that's why I was, because some of the gurus, because he sat there and told them, because I tell people you cannot put that stuff out there and not expect someone to, you get my drift, to check you out. Maybe I should put it that way. You know what I mean? And I mean, as long as you are legit, then yes. That's why I tell people, I said I don't say anything about ICT, because overall, yes, it is still based. To me, it's based off sort of the look-off method, and that's basically a priced action. You know what I'm talking about? So he just calls it different stuff. That's really what it boils down to. I said, and that's why I said, to me, anyway, that's why I said, to me, the people, it's probably, that's why to me it's probably just 70-80% emotional, just as our mentality, discipline, whatever you want to call it. Because to me, the people that find success with ICT are disciplined enough and have their emotions and everything honed enough that whatever they was using, they will most likely found success with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just anyway.
Yeah, these guys you talk about that are just trading all day and chasing the market and running around. I don't know. Do they? I guess some of them make money, but
Yes,
I don't know.
overall they do. You have to realize a lot of these guys are guys that's